Okay, I want to help you out a little bit on this lab. Make sure that you guys kind of are going in the right direction. We're going to do a good most of it. I'm going to leave a little bit up to you, but I want to help you out. Now, in order to do this, I'm starting with what we left off on last time, the ball array example that we did. And so hopefully you followed that video along and you have this working program. If not, you need to go back and kind of get this program because I'm basing it off of this one right here. So if I go over this real quick, let me go ahead and run it, show you what happens on this one here. So, okay, we created this. It sends a ball off in every direction. We made the largest ball be red. And then when they get to the walls, they bounce off. And we had to adjust that per their radius for each one. Okay, so our goal now is we want to put a box up here with the words how many we click, and we're going to go ahead and click these circles, and when we click them, we want them to remove. Okay, so this is a pretty common feature in a lot of games. You destroy something, we're destroying the ball or something else. Is that ability to change it once you click on it. Okay, and so processing has a couple cool abilities that we can do. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the text box up. So let's go ahead and I'm going to get out of that right now. So just to review here, I created an array. This array can hold 100, gives it the amount that it can, and it can hold 100 different, and it's doing a ball. So we created the ball class down here. If we go to look at that real quick, there's my ball class. Different variables go into that. Here's my constructor. Then I can display the ball. If it's the largest, I put it to one color red. Otherwise, it went to red, green, blue. So that'd just be blue. And I make the shape of it, and that's all saved in one position in the array. And then I can change its position each time, and then make sure when we created this bounce so that when it gets to the wall, it goes ahead and it changes its speed, which will then XP is changing its location, so it will just move it the other direction, both in the X and Y direction right there. Okay, so again, we went over this before. Hopefully, if you need to take a minute, go back and over that. Then we did make a method to find the largest here. And so then we went ahead and did our setup. So everyone starts with this one setup right here. The setup, this was creating all those different balls, putting it inside there. And then draw, we gave it a background. We found the largest ball. And then we went ahead and did a for each loop. And for this for each loop, we did the dot display, dot move, and then dot bounce to make sure what was going on. Now what I want to do is let's go ahead and make a box in the top left corner. Okay, so let me comment this out. So make a box with the amount of circles that we will remove. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I want to make this a different color, so I'm going to change my fill. And let's just make it, we'll use grayscale, so type of gray here. Do 200. And then I want to go ahead and put a rectangle in here. Okay, so this rectangle will be gray. And rectangle, I want to put in the top left corner. So 0, 0 would be that top left corner, but I don't want it quite touching. I like to give a little buffer there. So I'm going to go maybe like 5 and 5. And then I give the dimensions of it. So I'm going to go, I want it to be longer than it is. I want the width to be longer than the height. So I'm going to go probably like 130, and let's go 50 here. Okay, so that goes ahead and that creates my rectangle right there. Okay, and then let's go ahead and take a look here. I press play. Now I got a lot going on here, so it's going to take a second. Okay, I got my balls there. And I don't have my box here, so I'm missing my box. Let's go ahead and see right here of what's going on. I got this is in draw. I'm sorry. So this is what happened. Is I did it, and then after I did this one, I have my background. So my background's over it. Oh, silly me. Okay, I need to do my background first. So unless we can actually change the transparency so you can kind of see through one drop of another, otherwise it just overlaps them, right? And so the background is overlapping this and I don't see it. So I actually just need to switch this. I'm going to go ahead and highlight and cut and then go make my background the first thing. And I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. Now that should go ahead and fix it. My background will be first, which is that yellow. And then I should have my gray box. Yeah, there's my gray box right there in the corner. And that's what I was hoping for. Okay, now I want to put some type of text in here that says the balls clicked, right? Or balls removed or something like that. Because we're going to go ahead and click it, and it should remove these balls as we go ahead and click it. So I'm going to go off here. I want to change the color here. I'm going to want to make it black, so that's going to be a fill of 0. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and add a text. And the text would be balls removed, or balls. Yeah, let's go balls removed. Okay, I'm going to put a semicolon, give just some space before this. And then I want to go ahead and do plus, and then I want to create some variable to keep track of removed. Okay, so I'm going to go removed here. And then I need to give a location. So if my box starts at 5, I probably want this to start at 10. And maybe go, I don't know, go down a little bit. So it starts at 5 there. I might start this. Let's just start it at 10. And let's see what happens when I do this here. Now, I haven't done remove. So I need to create a variable to keep track of how many balls I have clicked and removed. So that's going to be global. Right, because the balls are outside, they're not in the setup or draw, they're contained right here. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new variable called, let's comment this and say, create variable to keep track of how many balls were clicked. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, and I want to make this an integer, right? That makes the most sense here. I'm going to call this removed, and let's set it equal to 0 at first, right? And I haven't actually done anything. So that should be 0. So now I can go back to my draw here. Removed is defined. I forgot my semicolon right there. And let's go ahead and see what this does here now. So I go ahead and click play. Okay, there we go. So I have balls removed, and then it has 0 right here. Notice that's a little high in my text box. I probably want to bring that down a bit here so it's not so high up. I think what happened is it starts at, but the bottom of it starts at 10 pixels. So I was thinking it would be a little bit further down. I might bring it down at least, midway here. So if my width right there, or length going down, this is why it's 50. Let's say make this probably 25. And that might start then the bottom of it down there. So let's go ahead and try that. See if that fixes it, makes it look a little bit better, and make it in the text box. And let's make sure my text box is long enough too. So I go ahead and I run this. There we go. Balls removed, 0, and now my balls are bouncing. Now, the one thing is I would expect this ball should cover up. Let's see. Yeah, that ball covers that up because, remember, I'm doing this command after I'm doing that one. But I don't really mind that as much. That kind of gives it a three-dimensional kind of aspect to it. It makes it like some depth there as it's going over it. So I'm not going to worry about that. We could worry about that. I'm not going to worry about that right now. I want to go ahead and focus now on clicking and removing, right? If I go ahead and click, nothing happens. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out of this right here. All right, and I want to go ahead and do a mouse click. Now, mouse click is an event. All right, so anytime you have an event, you actually do that outside of the setup and draw. So I go outside here. I got my method I created here, but I'm going to go ahead and do this event outside of this one. And I'm going to go ahead and remove ball when mouse clicked. And mouse clicked is its own feature here. So I'm going to go here and go void mouse clicked right here and do my curly brackets and my curly brackets, and there I go. So this will, anytime the mouse is clicked, this is going to perform. So now we actually have to tell it what to do when the mouse is clicked. All right. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and remove it from the array. Now, this is the one thing about arrays is we can't actually remove anything from an array. An array list we could, but I just have an array. Now, for right now, for simplicity, I'm going to keep it an array. I could go back and go through and make this an array list, but I'm not. I'm going to keep it an array. And so what I'm going to do then is just set its radius and everything to 0. So I'm going to go actually make another constructor of this, and set them all equal to 0. All right. So we made a constructor for the ball class. So if I go to the ball class right here, right, I gave it all these values and we put those in for each one. I did randoms right here. I put a for loop. I made, I think, 200 and I put them all here. Well, I want to do this again. So I'm actually just going to copy this right here. This is my one constructor. And remember, we've talked about overloading the constructor. We can make multiple constructors. But this time, instead of putting all this in, I want it just to be blank. I want this to be 100% blank. And then the program will know to use whichever one I put in. So if I just do ball with all those things, it's going to use this constructor and make this object from my ball class. Well, if I leave it blank, it's going to make this one. But this time, I don't want it to be this, right? I just want to set these all equal to 0. So 0, 0, 0, and 0. I'm going to make FC. So hold on. I got to use the FC is FCLC radius, so I can just use FC. So FC is equal to 0 here. That'd be black, but it's okay. It doesn't matter. That's first color and then largest color right here. If you don't remember the reference to that last time. Color 0. And radius, I'm going to set equal to 0 here. All right. So what I'm really saying here, equal to 0. This radius. Okay. Is that if I go ahead and do this, it's going to, whatever that was there that was assigned to this original object, I'm going to default it and just put it all to 0. And then that way it doesn't have to go ahead and make an ellipse anywhere. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and now I do want to mention that there is multiple ways to do this. This is just the first way I thought of doing this. I could always do a test, a different if statement test inside there to see if that condition is met as well. Maybe put a Boolean there, put true. So, and then test the Boolean each time I do display and only display if that Boolean is true. So with that if statement, again, multiple ways I can do this. I'm just going to go ahead and set these all to 0. That's the way I'm going to do it. Okay, so I come back up to my mouse click. So I created a new constructor that just sets everything at 0. Well, I need to go ahead and test each one and see if it's where the mouse is when clicked. So when I click the mouse, I want to check the position of the mouse. So the mouse X and mouse Y is what we talked about before to see where the position is. But I also need to look at where that is. So I'm going to go ahead and create right here. So ball, and I'm going to call this current B right here. And so I'm going to create a new variable from the ball class called current B. And it's going to be equal to the container of hold on. Wait, I. So I'm going to say I'm going to want to go through a loop here. So I skipped ahead. Let's go ahead and go through a loop. Integer I equals 0. Now this is one of those examples where I definitely don't want to do a for each because I want the index here. And so I'm going to have to do my traditional, integer I equals 0 here because of that reason. And now I want to do this for as long as it's less than the length of it, array here, and then just increment up right here, plus plus, and right here, curly brackets. Let's come on this side, and my curly brackets so I don't forget that, and I'm going to tab this over. Okay, so each time I run through this, it's going to set this a new variable here, current ball. So current B is what I'm talking about here. And so it's going to go through, and now I want to evaluate this current ball. Okay, and don't forget my semicolon here. And I want to see if when the mouse is clicked, if the current ball is within the area of the mouse. So how do I do this? I'm going to do first evaluate the X. If mouse of X is greater than, so first I just need to check one side. Is it greater than or equal to, right here, and then I'm going to put current B dot X position. X position right there. And mouse of X is less than current B dot X position right there. So what this is checking to see, hey, is the mouse greater than where it is here? And in this case, is it less than? Now, this would have to be the exact case of where the center of my ellipse is. So I actually have to account for that. And I'm going to say, well, is it this position minus the radius? So current B dot radius. So I'm saying wherever this ellipse is at the time minus the radius in the X position. So maybe this is a little hard to see here. Let's say I have a circle right here, okay? And the center of this circle is at 20, and the radius is 10. So is it greater than 10? And then if this is 20, 10 on this side for the radius, this would be 30. So what I'm saying is the mouse within 10 and 30 right here is what I'm saying through this statement. Now I need to go ahead and add on this side plus current B dot radius. So this is going to check. Is the mouse greater than one side of the circle and less than the far side of the circle? Now that's just the X. I also need to go ahead and I need to check the Y as well, okay, to make sure that fits for the Y. So if that's true, I'm going to come down here. And let's see, it says I'm missing a parenthesis here. So let's look at my if statement here. I got parenthesis start here, parenthesis for this one, and this parenthesis started parenthesis here. And if for this one, that looks good to me. Let's see. All right, and the curly brackets. I'm running out of room. My line's so long. All right, it fixed itself when I put in the curly brackets. So no worries there. Okay. Now, if that's true, I need to check then the Y. So I'm going to go ahead and just highlight this right here because the only thing changing is the Y position. This will make my life a little bit easier. So copy this and paste this and my parentheses right there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and check that. Now change this to Y, change that to Y, change this to Y, this to Y. There we go. So I'm checking to see if it's in the range of the X, and I'm checking to see if it's in range of the Y. If those are both true, then I want to go ahead and use my new constructor. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm trying to go over, doesn't look like I can go over more. There we go. I'm going to need one more curly bracket here for this if statement. So I come down. Okay, I get that for right there. I'm going to indent in. So if it's within the ranges the X and Y, well, then I know that the ellipse, that circle, is next to where my mouse is. So now I'm going to go ahead and make a new one. So ball C is equal to new ball, and I'm going to use my empty constructor here. So what this does is this just makes a new object with no values whatsoever. And then I'm going to set the container. So the one I'm on, right, I sent this right here, container I. Since it's where it is, I want to set container I now equal to C. So now what the shape, dimension, radius, everything I said before, it erased it all. And now it is no longer there. So if it's in the range of the X position of the mouse and the Y position of the mouse, it makes a new one, and then it goes ahead and deletes it right there. Okay, so there's one more thing I want to do, but let's just make sure this works. So I'm going to go ahead and go up here. Now, I should get, my box should pop up, the ball should pop up, everything should pop up. That looks good. Nothing is happening right now. That's good. Okay, then as soon as I click a ball right here, and the ball disappears. That's exactly what I was hoping for, right? I click right here. Now both of those balls were right there, so it got rid of both those. I'm going to go up here, clicks those. Okay, so if I'm clicking multiple ones here, I can go ahead and it's removing all of these balls that I click. Now notice we are missing something important right here, right? It's not incrementing it up right here. It's a 0. I keep clicking on these balls. It keeps getting rid of these balls. Nothing's changing up here. So what I need to do at this point is I need to go ahead and inside this, if these two conditions are met, right, I'm creating a new one using my new constructor setting to 0, and then I'm setting that the container we were looking at and getting rid of it. I just need to write then here, go removed, increment up, and then I'm done right here, okay? Now I'm going to go ahead and run this again, and when I run this again, each time this mouse clicks and it's within one of these balls, it's going to go ahead and it is going to remove the ball here. Give it a second. So boom, right there. I click. Notice I'm clicking a lot of different ones here. Okay. Just try to get one. That was 14, 1 to 15 right there. Yeah, I'm starting with 200. And so if I click in a concentrated area, I'm going to get a bunch right here. But notice that it is definitely working right here, right? And so I am now clicking these balls and I'm getting a counter here, right? Other things we could do, right, is maybe I could put a timer here, right? That wouldn't be too hard because I know it goes 60 times a second. So if I do 60 times the amount of frames and just refresh that once a frame, then that would give me 1 second.